Derrick F Walker Jr. writes, "Afternoon, guys and gals. I was wondering, are you guys aware of any new Nolan projects in the works?"
I myself am not aware of any new Nolan projects in the works. And I don't know if this is because he is still working on something and isn't ready to tell everybody about it. I don't know if this is him just wanting to take a step back from Interstellar, because to me, Interstellar, while I still think a good movie that I enjoyed, I think it's a thumbs up movie. But at the same time, I think it might be like my second least favorite of his. I was a little bit underwhelmed because I went in like a lot of people with Interstellar wanting 10s. I was expecting 10s across the board. And when you don't get what you were expecting, you leave feeling a little bit disappointed. Even if it's like a solid 7 or a solid 8, you still walk out feeling a little disappointed. And that was kind of my reaction to Interstellar. Still really like it. I give it a thumbs up. I tell people to go and see it, but at the same time, it's not what I wanted it to be and felt like a little bit not up to that Christopher Nolan standard. But when you look at that movie, that must have been such an exhausting movie to forget just shooting. The development of that movie seems like it would have been completely exhausting. Shooting it, when you watch all the features on it, how they made that movie, totally exhausting. The release of that movie was totally exhausting. And I think for the first time in his career, other than some minor backlash from people like me or Schnepp, whatever, regarding The Dark Knight Returns or
Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises, thank you. This was the first film that he actually had to sit back and read some people kind of attacking his film. And so maybe that's caused him to just want to take a pause and step back for a second, take a deep breath, be really sure about his next movie, because Christopher Nolan is not just a good director. Christopher Nolan is a great director with the potential to be amongst the greatest of all times by the time his career is done. And that's, I think, the level of excellence he shoots for. He doesn't shoot for good. He shoots for people are going to be talking about my movie for decades. And I think maybe Interstellar has caused him to step back, reevaluate what he wants his next project to be, and then move forward. Whatever he comes out with next, though, I'm going to be super stoked about it. Anyway, Schnepp, what do you think?
Well, I agree. I think there's no real rush, and people forget he's also a writer as well as a director.
Yes.
So he needs time to, like, even though Interstellar came out like about 8 or 9 months ago, he's doing all the press junkets. He's like, there's no off time ever until a few months after your movie is out, because you're still, even your movie's out, you're doing interviews, this and that. So then he needs time to sit back. What am I going to do next? And more importantly, what am I going to write next? So maybe he didn't have something. Maybe he exhausted his script pack that I've got these 5 scripts just waiting to get made, and then he made them all. So now he's like onto a couple rough ideas. That could take 6 months to a year before he feels like, all right, this is the movie I'm going to make. So that's the role of someone creative when they're doing writing and directing. They have to give themselves the time to not rush something out, but be 100% positive that's what they want to commit themselves, as well as a studio and all the people who are going to make that film, to be the next film. So I'm sure he's writing the next Christopher Nolan film right now. So.
Right. Well, and no one on this panel, unless Ashley has a great poker face, knows what Christopher Nolan's next project is going to be. However, Christopher Nolan knows, because last month he mentioned that he had finished a draft of what his next project is going to be. Cool. So we don't know what that is. He hasn't told anybody, which I love. But you keep it secret. Now, whether that is going back to the Interstellar universe, which I'd be like, all right, cool. There's so many stories to tell in that world. The Inception universe, which I think would be awesome, or he wants to step back and do something smaller. It's hard to go bigger than Interstellar. It really is. I have a gut feeling, and my gut's wrong most of the time, that he's going to do something smaller. You're going to see something like Memento or The Prestige and take a step back from the huge event movie that's ever been, and then do something tinier, and then go back to making a giant blockbuster. Because like you said, this guy's going to be in the game until the day he kicks the bucket, and by the time that happens, he could be mentioned as one of the all-time greats. Somebody like Spielberg, who is an all-time great, does huge movies, and then he also does smaller movies as well. I think that's what you're going to get with the next Nolan project. Now, as soon as this goes live, he'll probably announce that he's doing
by the time this goes up,
Justice League versus Marvel. What?
I guarantee you right now, I will guarantee you right now, his next project, he's been approached by Sony, is Pixels 2. He's writing the follow-up to Pixels as we speak.
He's just waiting for Wreck-It Ralph to get the rights to Mario before he sends him the script.